Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Ignacio Sanguinete. I'm coordinating the La Chacra Bioinnova. I want to introduce the Chacra system, which will give the framework for the presentations today. The Chacra system looks for solutions to the productive demands from farmers. We work under two flags or two motors. That is to learn producing, and also we work in networks because all participants provide their perspective, their opinion about what is the best for all of us, and we try to have a systems view when solving problems. A chakra includes an expert or technical responsible person who's responsible for performing the activities, a panel of experts that provide their knowledge, and the most important members and the most important ones are the farmers, the growers, because they generate the responses they want to obtain, and everything is coordinated through by the systems program, through the management office and the academy. Innova is intended to assess business alternatives, considering bioeconomy as the main axis, the main pillar. The idea is to share experiences in La Chacra on bioeconomy, focusing on real or tangible business. Maximiliano is an engineer. He's a member of the technical panel. He's an expert in commercial development, strategic planning, biotechnology, and bioinstruments. Martín, he's an agronomist, graduated from the Mar del Plata University. He is manager of agricultural production in a company. He's member of the Juan Manuel Fangio Association in Mar del Plata. He has been the founder of Valor Agregado and Innova, and he's also member of La Chacra Integrated Agricultural and Livestock Systems. Jimena is a PhD in economy and agricultural economy from Padova. He's a magister also, and she has a degree in administration, university degree in administration. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to share this panel with Maxi and Martín. We will get to know the different stages of Chacra, the learnings, the lessons learned, and the challenges, and then thinking into the future how to undertake in bioeconomy. Martín, can you please start telling us what were your first, your early beginnings in La Chacra? I see known faces. The Mar del Plata regional group, we had to have this Chacra system, and we considered that it was interesting to analyze what were the productive gaps, the difference between what we did and what we could do. We were really excited about this, but we had a frost in November that damaged our sunflower. That never happens in Mar del Plata, or it's not a frequent event. We had to organize an online presentation. Zoom didn't exist those days. And we said, why don't we add value to this? How can we go about this? What approach will we have? And so we talked with the INTA. We get in contact with a trainee, and so we suggested in the executive meeting in Aapresid, we suggested this plan. And so the people who work with us is with people from the same region, but people from other regions also were interested to join us. And we realized that the Chacra program could bring together people from different regions. And that's how we put in place this program. We have different chakras system that bring together people from different areas who have a common problem. The livestock system is something similar because it brings together people from different regions. So we joined our friends from Wamini, then they left the chakra. These are one of the early pictures, and we started to add value. We are all agronomists, so we thought to have a butcher's shop, butcher's show. We have cows, and we can open a butcher's store. But the added value for us was to produce oil, edible oil, or to sell meat. It was a little bit complicated to, doing both things, or producing edible oil or having a butcher store had problems because it was very complex. We had to think in cold storage. And so we started to dream. And what about doing bioplastics? And what about thinking in energy coming from waste in Mar del Plata? We ended up talking with the Balcarce mayor to generate energy from the waste in Balcarce. We have never thought of that in the past. We have never considered that energy coming from waste. We didn't do that in the end, but we evaluated lots of things that were interesting because we opened our minds. And we developed a methodology to evaluate our project. The person who's responsible for La Chacra is the technical manager for GPD. And we asked for his advice. And we attended a talk of vegetable plant protein. And somebody asked us, why don't we introduce a ticket of $300,000? We looked at each other, we stared at each other, and we really laughed at that. And the second thought was, instead of contributing $300,000, we didn't have that money, why don't you come together and you provide a ticket in groups? What happens if we contribute to other projects, if we gather that money among a group? So we started to analyze that possibility to come together, to put in place a partnership. And so we started a trust fund. We created a trust fund. I really still don't know what exactly a trust fund is, but we are members of a network, the Aapresid network, and this helps us reach many more people in number, but also more diverse people, and we can reach the whole country. People. This resulted from a talk with friends of creating these trust funds to help startups that need funding, and at the same time we were able to generate value with the money that we invest in our butcher's shop. We can help other people who are smarter than us, and they need help to grow, and they also need the help of technology. So we ended up with a trust fund called Inventus. It is next to Aapresid booth. We work very, very close to Aapresid. because most of us, it's a joint venture fund. We have invested in several startups. They have to tell us what they do. Roberto Santos are part of the investors committee, and they are good at evaluating the different or assessing the different startups. But we really were able to help many people who need our help, and later on we can validate that technology. I have the Chacra continues. I will pass over the mic to my colleague. Thank you. La Chacra is a 3-year project, and when the product adventure ended, we started to talk with our partners. What shall we do now? Shall we close La Chacra, or shall we this farm, or shall we continue? So with a brainstorming, we met different experts on different topics, and we started to consider the use of biomass. We first considered biofertilizers, and we improved our early checklist. And so we started evaluating investment projects. We attended courses in the UCEMA University. So we do lots of things to reach where we are, to get where we are now. And we really decided to introduce a project and to analyze. Marcelo, you are knowledgeable about biofertilizers. Why don't you consider this possibility? And some of them said, okay, let's contribute with money. I think that this business will close. So we try to establish how to do this. We said that it made no sense to establish fertilizers plants all over the country. And so we decided that we needed a commercial or a trading network. That's how we put in place Biológica. If the trader will sell biofertilizers, he has to sell something else. Okay, let us sell biological products. As farmers, we detected that the market and the farmers and growers have a need today. Companies are putting pressure on the introduction of biological products, but the farmer has many offerings. The supply is too huge, and they don't know what to choose. So we need an advisor in the farm that tells the farmers what to use and how to use it. So this Biológica started as a commercial network that markets biofertilizers and also biological products, brands that have already been analyzed in the market in order to launch that into the market and to provide support to the farmers. So we ended up with an investment fund and with an input network. I know that this would be easy for me because you would explain what were the different stages, and I was asked to make an overview of the elements or the bioeconomics projects. What are the key to take into account? You talked about sunflower, about the butcher's shop, the butcher's store, but what was the key element that you consider? How did you analyze the opportunities? What trends did you analyze? What were the elements that brought you to this decision, to this project that you started? We changed the name of La Chacra. We are in a moment where everybody speak about economy. This is a moment of opportunity, and this chakra, the value of this chakra is that they becomes aware of the opportunities on time. I'm from Mendoza, Martín is from Mar del Plata, people from Córdoba, from Rosario. Each of our companies, Martín is production manager, and if you have to test a product, this will be he will be necessary in all the companies. He's really considering things on the ground. I'm looking things from the point of view of businesses. I think that this partnership or that association that happens in La Chacra is our advantage because we'll speed up this process. Antonio is concerned with finance. He's a farmer, but he's concerned with financial aspects. I think that all together we are able to come up with something which is very good. The good thing is that they asked me question last week. I had to go to a field tour in Trenkelauken in relationship with this livestock and agricultural project. And a farmer, we were talking about adding value, and the farmer said, I want to open up butcher store. No, I thought, again, the butcher store, the cold storage, the transportation of cows, it was too complex. When I drive along the highway, I see that there are many barns to feed pigs, but they are empty. I'm concerned about these investments that we do because we are excited in a specific situation. That happened to us in La Chacra. Bueno, let's open a butcher store. Let us raise pigs. But this was not something that we felt in our hearts that I think this will work. We are a group of 15 people. It was not a gut feeling that we thought that there was a specific situation. Let's start with biofuels, and then the government changed the blend, or the border is closed. So the business becomes complicated in some cases. The fact that we are many different people with a diverse thinking, avoids this gut feeling of doing things. We try to be as sound and as reasonable as possible. I think that the fact that we are a significant number of people is better. You talked about partnership, about supplementing skills and capacities, and we also talked about project evaluation. This is a methodology I learned when I was a student at school, at the university. What project did you evaluate? We started with a checklist, a very simple checklist. This might work or not. We checked or we didn't check how is your team, what are the members of your team, who are the people that will go ahead with this project. And we started to evaluate businesses with this checklist. We added a Porter matrix, a cash flow analysis. And what we do today is each niche that we investigate. This didn't finish with Inventure or Biologica. We are analyzing businesses with fish, with alfalfa. We try to put everything in this analysis matrix and check whether it works or it doesn't. And really, this is working, is helping us. Let's see how this ends up. An important detail is that we realized that it was not that we had to do the project ourselves. When talking with Maxi, you know that Kodak people, when Kodak went bankrupt because when we started to take pictures with the cell phones.
We have to bet on doing things ourselves and finding smarter people, so we have to find those partners. The good thing about Aapresid is that now we are at India. I never thought I'd be part of India and that they would open up the doors for me. If you're ever lucky enough to go into India, you will feel that you are in a country. Being part of Aapresid helped us to reach those places. And you can go into La Chacra. Everyone who's here can come and visit La Chacra or Bioeconomy. So the thing is adding smarter people, smarter than ourselves. And there's another thing that I think we should add. We have to think of making the pie bigger. You yourself may have an idea, approach, and try to carry it out. But when more people start participating, when this pie becomes bigger, the pieces are also bigger, and that's when things change. This is why Martín was saying you're all invited to participate in La Chacra. I think that's the way to go, and that's how things happen. About 20 years ago, a company was born out of Aapresid. It's called Bioeconomy today, and it's a listed company today. It started just like this. It was 20 or 30 farmers who got together to get funds, and today there are shareholders from all over the world. So I think that the important thing is that we do not have to be stingy with ideas. You have to share ideas, put them on the table, and be generous so that the pie will get bigger. Thank you. In connection with this, Martín, what can you tell us about Inventure? What's Inventure's differential factor? You have mentioned the commercial aspect, but what's the bonus about the fact that there are people connected to agriculture? I'm really surprised about Inventure. I'm a user of the startups we're funding. Inventure has an assessment committee, which I'm fortunately not a part of, that is made up of Maria Jose Soler from Endeavor, Alejandro La Rosa, Fernando Vilela was also part of the assessment committee, and there are other growers who are members of Inventure who assess the stages with a certain checklist. They assessed about 300 startups. That's why I'm saying I'm not part of that committee any longer, fortunately, because it's really hard work. And the reality is that one of the things you look at is the team and whether it might be useful for us to. Whenever I talk to some of the startups, because I'm a user of those startups, is that we validate their technology. We are not Exis fund contributing money and demanding a return on our investment. We have, if they has a way to measure whether your silo bag is full or not, well, I'm using that as a user. And the impact is larger than that of any fund that only contributes money. So they need to know that their product is working. Yesterday, I was talking to someone, and I told him, I want you to succeed because that will help me succeed. So I'll help you and give you my feedback to improve. And that's what they are looking for. They only find that in Inventure. And Inventure is ourselves, it's people like myself. I'm just an employee. I have nothing. I have an employee. I've invested my savings because I think it's super interesting what they are doing, what these guys, these very smart guys are doing, I think is super interesting, and supporting them is very important. We are all encouraged to be part of Inventure as well. Thank you. I'd like to talk about a topic that's related to biotechnology, knowledge, and since I'm part of the university sector, I cannot but ask what's happening in this country where a large percentage of research is related to agriculture, the environment, and we see little connection between the production sector and the scientific academic sector. There are several indicators in the at the university that show that less than 6% of researchers work on applied science. So from your side, what do you think is missing, and how can research have an impact on what you are doing? Because the future is certainly knowledge. This question was not part of our prepared script, but I cannot miss this opportunity. Well, she was not able to see this, but while she was talking, there was a slide with the word connection. Well, Jimena, you are a clear example of the relationship between the academic and the productive sector. Innova, Chacra, has a new product, which is degree on production. The first cohort will be face-to-face. The program starts on September 24th. If we make the announcement, let's make it fully. It's very important for university to start changing. I went to university in the province of San Luis, and 60% of my professors had a PhD degree. But they had a hard time to go out, and it's difficult for us to go out and to get into the university as well. I think that professors need to open up more. And I'll tell you a story that you may have heard before. I focused on grains marketing for 9 years. I went back to university, I talked to the grain professor, and I told him, if you want, I can give you an example for the practical work at university. You can give this to the students so that they can go out. Nothing happened. I was an assistant professor in economy and started asking, why not? Well, the professor was afraid that that would help me to replace him. But that was not part of my plan at all. I will never be a professor. So sometimes people are jealous of what professors do in university, but those of us working in the field just want to give something back because most of us attended public university. I think those are barriers we have to take down, and we have to be available. We're working at UNCUYO National University. We are working on a plot, and the idea is to no-till with vegetables, and to show that you can have no-till with vegetables except for potatoes. But this goes together with the idea of opening up, going into university, using that plot so that professors will see that, and so that there is a better relationship. I think that universities have also lost something here. The same happens with INTA. There is a lot of research there. I think they have lost that connection with the private sector. So there are lots of papers, there's lots of research that ends up in a drawer, and it's great. Bioceres was that partly. Bioceres has channeled and is still channeling this connection, because I think something at Bioceres found a certain development at the Litoral University and said this has to move forward. Otherwise, this would only have ended up in a paper presented at different congresses. those intermediaries kind of disappeared along the years. And today, in the case of Bioceres, Inventure, Bioinnova, Bioinnova's Chacra or small farm, there are solutions there. We have to get together to meet the public research sector. Excellent work is done in Argentina, and very frequently you do this because here it is very, very difficult to do things, and we always thinking how to squeeze the stones or the rocks. And since there are so many people thinking about these things, we have to try and help them. You found a professor yesterday. I was talking to one of my staff who has always worked in grazing, and he has generated an app to measure grassland. It's an app that's very well tested. He's trying to find funders so that will get to growers. We were at Inventure stand, and I told him, well, let's see what we can do to work on this. Now I will have to convince the assessment committee, but this lady who worked on grazing for 25 years, they're doing something, and we have to find a way of making this grow. And if we want to make this grow, and if we want to benefit from this, then we have to help them ourselves with funds. There's nothing for free. So in a way, we have to channel that effort. This is what we have to try and do. If we are not smart enough to do this, and if there are other people who are smarter, then let's go out and find those people. Well, you have convinced us. I got some messages. I already got one who wants to invest, and another person who wants to be part of the Chacra. To conclude, some questions about the next steps. You have La Chacra, Bioceres, Biológica, the degree on partnership, and what other opportunities do you see looking forward? We'll be traveling to the Netherlands in October. We have prepared a bio-business trip. We will visit the country during 10 intense days. We will finish at the largest food exhibition in the world that will take place in Paris. I think that's a way to go. Business niche, biofertilizers. We're analyzing alfalfa businesses, see how this can be monetized. I think that in a year and a half, we got one product, that is Biológica. We thought it would take us 3 years, and we got it in a year and a half. The idea is to keep on working on biobusiness, bioeconomy, and well, that's the way to go. Anyone who is interested, you're more than welcome. If you want to participate at Bioinnova Chacra, I can assure you that you'll be surprised. We have 1 monthly virtual meeting and 3 additional regional meetings. It will be great to get together more often, but we're all quite busy. You're more than encouraged to participate. Well, you have seen several pictures. We went to see nuts and almonds in Mendoza. I never thought I would see 4,000 hectares of squash in Mendoza. There's people from Mendoza over there. Some things I had never thought of. So what is the future? To be honest, I do not have the faintest idea. If you had told me I'd be here 8 years ago when we were at INTA saying, well, what if we slaughter calves? So what's the end of this? I really don't know. The most important thing is that when you get together with lots of people, lots of ideas come up, some ideas that you didn't have. Suddenly you realize those are good ideas, and you start adding things, and you never know where you can end up. I don't think we will send a spaceship to the moon. I don't know, maybe. This is what I'm most surprised about. If I look backwards to the times when we were at INTA Balcarce thinking, what can we do? I'm really surprised at where we ended. I never thought we would eventually have an investment fund, talking to people who measure fires with a satellite. or developing a biological products company. So try to join us. It's lots of fun, and if nothing comes out of this, you will have lots of fun anyway. Well, thank you very much. So it's not only about thinking out of the box, but thinking with the tools in the box, good partners, good colleagues, good ideas, and methodology, because this is what you have also talked about. It's not just your gut feeling, even though the gut feeling is useful and you always need commitment, but measuring, assessing alternatives, I think, is part of your journey. So we will now close this session. Thank you for being here with us. Are there any other questions? Hello, thank you. I'm here on behalf of the CONICET's Technological Liaison Office. You've talked about INTA, Raquel Chali, CONICET Researcher, INDEARE, CONICET Institute, and what I'd like to say is that for the Technological Liaison Manager's Office, we're now going the reverse way. Usually, researchers would develop something, and based on that, we would get in touch with companies to do the technology transfer. What we're doing now, and Maximiliano can bear witness to this, is that I'm getting in touch with companies. I've done this here, I've also done this before, to learn about the demands of the production sector and be able to provide a response from the scientific and technological system. So please do not hesitate to get in touch with us if you think that there is a project where we might add value. We have already done this with Maximiliano, whom I had not met personally before, but I was aware of the company where he worked on, because I was a member of the agriculture, cattle breeding, and fishery department, and there was a bioinnovation staff for Argentinian products. I got impressed by that. So I got in touch with Maximiliano, and now we're working on 3 or 4 projects, and there are opportunities to connect with the scientific and technological sector. So I didn't want this session to end without talking about CONICET. I want you to know that CONICET is an organization that is available to the production sector. There's a lot of capabilities, equipment, knowledge, technology, and it is also a federal organization, so it is present all over the country. There are researchers in universities and INTA. Many of them have dual positions. They work in CONICET and at university as well. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, because when I was saying 41% of publications, I meant the scientific academic sector, CONICET and the universities. Thank you for your contribution. I think COVID was an example of that. When there is a theme, when there is a focus, and when there is money, the scientific system responds and develops solutions. If we take that model, we will surely be able to have more improvements and a positive impact on the production system. Good morning. I'm one of the investors, so congratulations. But I also wanted to make an announcement or an advertising. You mentioned the problem of beef and slaughterers. I am an agricultural and cattle breeding producer, and I am a part of an association with other farmers, and we have built a cold storage plant. It's very difficult to get in touch with supermarkets or butchers, because when you sell your products through the butchers, your brand disappears. But it's simpler than what you may believe. Today, there are lots of technological tools, digitalized tools, so that traceability will not be lost. And if we believe, And as a farmer, I do believe that we're doing things in a different manner based on carbon footprint, organic products, whatever it is. It is much easier than what you may believe, and I'm available to help anyone to move in this regard. Whether you make money or not, that's a different topic, but it is possible and it is easy. That's the message I wanted to share. What I was saying in connection with beef is that the first thing you think of when you think about adding value and escalating is we have beef, so we create butchers, or we have sunflower, so we produce oil. Obviously, I think those who have dared doing it and who are doing well, congratulations. But at that time, what we were seeing was that there were several weaknesses in the project, and we had lots of issues, taxes, illegal sales. Well, Argentina, as simple as that. And that stopped us. It doesn't mean it's either good or bad. I think it's great for someone to dare growing in scale in the butcher's business or in the slaughterhouse business. I gave that example because this is what we do. This is what we usually do. I have cows, I have soybean, I have sunflower, and the first thing is always, well, I'm going to produce this corn because I love popcorn. So I wanted to point out is that the way in which we assessed the project led us to otherwise. I'm not criticizing those who add value by selling beef or biofuel. I think it's absolutely valid. But at that time, we did not think that was the project we have to start. Are there other questions? Because I'm holding the mic. I think there are no more questions, so thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause.